brave soul that chooses to do their presentation solo. This is Madge Boldt, and she's going to be talking about for the hopelessly checked out batch check-ins. So take it away, Madge.
Online. I don't want anyone online seeing my notes. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to present. I prefer lightning rounds, so I might leave in 5 minutes. I'll try not to though. This is sort of lightweight. I know we've all had our thinking caps on in that last session. I didn't understand a lot of it. There is no required code in mine at all. No, nothing. So you guys are all like really smart. Think of this as a case study. It's a case study from my little community college. So that is showing the right thing. My name is Madge Boldt. I am a librarian. I've been at Massasoit from 2016 to present. I'm an electronic resources librarian. But in January of 2022, our technical services person left. And you know how it's really easy to hire people right now? So I kind of just took over as I want to do. So for about a year, I've been the technical services librarian. And it's fun. I like learning new things. And the first thing we did was we allowed everybody to go into the catalog and edit items so that it wouldn't all be me. And Massasoit Community College is one of 15 state community colleges in Massachusetts. That's our FTE. It's a lot of fun. Since the pandemic, we've gone more online, just like everybody. And we also have a large number of early college now. So we are also at high school in our realm. We joined Helm Consortia and began using Koha in 2019. So we're relatively new. And Helm is the Higher Education Libraries of Massachusetts. And they're an association of Massachusetts College Libraries and Public Higher Education. And we're also affiliates of Flow, which is Fenway Libraries Online. In fact, all of our Helm support and Koha support come from Flow, who are geniuses and know how to do all that coding stuff. So I'm sure they understood that first session a lot. And to go back further, Bywater provides our support. And I remember when you guys came to my college, a very exciting day. I think we have a group picture too. So here's my agenda. We're going to just talk about hopelessly long overdues, because I know I have more than 5 minutes and all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna do all of those things. So I wanted to start it just by saying we all have policies, but we're also kind, as we talked about with fines and things like that. And we're realistic. So you guys all look like a nice group of responsible people, right? And yesterday I heard there were 68 of you. If I checked out a book to everybody today, in a year, 3 of you would still have my book. So just think that's according to stats. And I think maybe more because librarians tend to be the worst offenders. So yes, this is what I found, that 5% of the items checked out in 2022 are still checked out by that patron today. It's not a surprise to anybody here, I don't think. So while I was working on this, I kept thinking of the Hopelessly Hoping song. And I had it in my head and thinking of wordlessly watching he waits by the window, how sad we are when a book doesn't come back, right? Every once in a while we do have a pet book that we're like, gosh, I just bought that. You know, it goes on display, somehow it doesn't come back. So just being dramatic, we expect this. I would have loved to provide stats by the ALA on lost books, but those stats aren't kept, and I can see why. It's a hard stat to keep because we put values in the catalog, but they change. So you can't really, you know, if edition 10 goes missing and now they're on 20. Edition 10 is no longer worth $100. But we did, one of my coworkers figured out our loss figures, and it's approximately $2,500 per year in lost and missing books. So it's not insignificant to us. I read a cute article by a school librarian who had to get over the loss of books, and called The Philosophy of Lost Books. And it goes from losing sleep over it to letting it go. And he thinks of it as, okay, well, now they're part of somebody else's collection. Instead of thinking, do you know how many hours I've spent processing that book and adding it to the catalog? So he's kind of let it go.
7 stages of.
Right. I think the quote about the therapist is funny. So while I was grabbing examples, I actually was just, I poked around in the catalog looking at things, and I'm like, wow, we have this book that's been checked out since 2003. That's kind of crazy. And I just kind of grabbed it, not even looking at what it was. And we implemented it in 2019. That wasn't that long ago, but somehow nobody's there who remembers why we have items in the catalog that are still checked out. We must have brought them over, or some just accidentally hopped over during the implementation. But is there really any hope that this book is going to come back? And it did send me into a spin, thinking of all the sad reasons why this particular book didn't come back. You can keep it, it's okay. So that caused me to want to run a report of our items currently checked out, and this is what I found. 2023 isn't a surprise. 2020 kind of isn't either, right? People check things out. Where did they go? Everybody went home. Lots of faculty would check out. Just saying. So I decided that I was going to target these things, sort of, let's call it pre-pandemic checkouts, right? And our collection is just 28,000, so it's probably small compared to some of you guys. So I decided to do a project. And why? Well, we all like data cleanup, right? I mean, who wants dirty data? It's part of weeding. At my school, we like to call it curation. I know there's selection, there's all kinds of things, but the library director is a word genius, and curation just sounded so positive. Collection development, when we're trying to figure out what we need to purchase, if we see that book in there, we may not notice that it's been checked out for 5 years, and we may not remember to buy it. And our patrons are, we're a 2-year college, hopefully they graduate. There's been some that are still here after a lot of years, but we have a lot of part-timers, see, Middlesex now, same system. So it was time to plan the project, and let's call these informal meetings, because I didn't really set up meetings. I went to the CERT desk and said, hey, what do you think about doing this thing? What years can we sacrifice? Here's the questions I asked. How likely is it that a long overdue item will be returned? Because I really didn't know. And everybody's like, they're not coming back. And what's our cutoff time for giving up? And are we okay with letting the patrons get out of library jail? The school does try to help collect money and, put a hold on graduation. I don't know if they really do that. And you know how that is, trying to communicate with like an accounting office. It's, not a thing. So the result of all of these meetings were first to try to get some of the faculty and staff items back. That was a failure. I sent emails and 2 did respond saying, wow, I haven't been on campus in a long time. And I said, well, we have a book drop right on the front. And nothing came back. But that's all right. And we're not going to remove any, laptops, hotspots from the catalog. That all was new, except for the calculators. We only started doing that when the pandemic came around. So we decided to back up and remove all items checked out 2021 and earlier. So we actually added more to that range. Figuring none of those things checked out in 2020 were coming back. So I remembered when I did batch deletes that when I was weeding, if something was checked out, it just wouldn't delete. So I said, I'll just look for batch check-in. And I found out it didn't exist. So I was like, I must be in the wrong menu. And, you know, and so here we have the Bugzilla. And so now I confess that I did not look at Bugzilla at all until I decided I could do this presentation, because I thought, what if there actually is a batch check-in and I have this whole workaround thing? So, and I learned yesterday that I should have checked Bugzilla much earlier than I did. And you know, this isn't really a bug. It's sort of an enhancement. There's probably a lot of reasons why you have to be careful with the batch check-in, holds and transfers, all that kind of stuff. So one day I was talking with my coworker, and she was starting to look into doing an inventory, which we are in the process of. So I totally enjoyed Valerie's talk yesterday. And she said, hey, you know, there's an option on the inventory module that says you can check things in. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Let me look. So that's when I did look, and I said, oh, I think we can do this. So decided to make a project. So the project steps are run a report for the list of currently checked out items, filter, sort, be very careful, because this is your working report. You're going to grab the barcodes from here. So you really want to look at it and, like, you know, look at the faculty. Are they here now? Are they not? Look at the barcodes. This is the important thing. Remove other libraries items from your list. Yes, your patrons did check out a book from another library, and the reason I have that in red is because I did this. So I checked in a book and it said it's in transit to this other college, this book that we haven't seen in years. And so then I had to reach out to them and say, I'm buying you a book to replace the one that I just checked in and says it's in transit. It's not really coming, but it will be coming as soon as it comes in. And that book was Fahrenheit 451. One of our top books. I think it's assigned in class. So a new one came in and they're happy now. Of course, they have to process it. We know them. And then a coworker reminded me that I really should run a report for collection development purposes. They're not going to be able to use the other report with patron information on it. They made a report that has all of these things: call number, title, author, ISBN, so that they can look at it and say, do we need to purchase this book or no? And now we're ready to do the batch check-in. So, you know, sort by call number so you can batch them in ranges. I don't know if you could batch 680 something at once, maybe not. But I felt that I'd do it in chunks anyway. And use the inventory module. Let other staff know what you're doing. Try it in the test server first. I've learned that one. Do it in a test server, look at the results. Okay, boring screenshots. So last night, I'm used to working on the big screen too. And last night in my room, I was working on my laptop and I'm like, the text is all so small. I better make it giant. So I did. This is why it's so big. So here's inventory screenshots, and this is the key right here. There's an option on this really long inventory form that says do not check in items scanned during inventory, which is like sort of a double negative. It makes you scratch your head. It makes sense if you're doing inventory and you've scanned a book, it's obviously not checked out. So you want it to be checked in. So uncheck this because we want them to be checked in. And that's the magic. The rest of this stuff, it's a long form. I chose range A to A just so it wouldn't go looking for a whole bunch of things that don't exist. All I want is the check-in part. I don't really care about the inventory. We know it's not on the shelf. I unchecked skip items on loan since all of mine are on loan, but I have no idea what would happen if you didn't. This is a whole page of eye types, and I said, well, I guess I'll just check off the eye types I have in my list. So I did. I have no idea what would happen if you check them all off. Probably nothing, because all we're doing is checking in. And finally, we always run our data, right? Why would you not export to CSV?
Yeah.
Seriously. And then you click submit. But I did save a screenshot for I was keeping notes in a Word document of these steps because I knew I would never remember them. And I would have the same puzzlement the next time. So on this page, they all say found in wrong place, obviously, because they're not really there. They're not really found. They don't exist on a shelf. It's a hack, for God's sake. So after that, you can, that's when you can spot check and say, okay, those are checked in now. And now you can do your batch delete using the same barcodes, same batches. Let the staff know the process is complete. And then you can sleep well tonight. So you have to change your catalog and certifications free. It's kind of fun to think, oh, all these patrons will either stop getting emails now, or maybe they really won't care because they didn't care enough to return the books. And I don't know when our staff stop calling them, because I know there's emails and phone calls involved, and I have no idea when we just say, oh, never mind. So our results are that we removed 678 books and 2 DVDs that are still checked out and due December 31 of 2021 or earlier. That might not sound like a lot, but it is 2.4% of our collection. So it's really nice to have that cleaned up. And I can imagine there must have been some reports at circulation that improved. I have no idea. We didn't remove books checked out for faculty who are still with us because there's hope. There. And the equipment and the report was provided to liaisons. And then because we like to look at books, I just wanted to have a little service for the ones that are now part of someone else's collection. Most of them were our one book, one community selections, because we would buy a lot of those. And it's okay. We processed a lot of them, but we still have at least 1 or 2 copies on the shelf. So this was all right, you can have those. And then there's these books that I found interesting because there were 2 or 3 that were on that list. So it's kind of fun to look through. And isn't the Bible always one of them? I don't know why. Lots of books on ethics, which is sort of funny. That's what they're studying. We know I have a pretty good taste. A lot of this is required reading, probably. And lessons learned, talk to your colleagues. They all have great ideas. I really do like working in person again, because there's something about that, just like getting together and chatting with people that you do learn things. Make a plan. I tend not to make a plan. I like to just do it, but it's better to make a plan. So you really should. Document your steps. This I do because I will forget them. And, so I document them for me. And be careful, don't do it when you're tired. I mean, because I really are doing it. Have some coffee and then do it. It kind of feels important when you click that submit button on the live thing. And new Checkbookzilla. That's what I learned yesterday. See, I updated this last night. I learned my future plans. Each spring, I'm going to run the report. I may only need to do it every year or 2, or maybe every other year. I don't know. It had never been done before, so who knows? And I'll check Bugzilla. See, I paid attention yesterday. This is just a summary of steps. Those are the things we went through, and good time. What are your questions or comments? Anything? Yes. Hope that provided a mental break for me. Oh, I had a question then. I was taking notes last night. Just in case of silence. Was there another way I could have done this basket? Without, for items that were checked out, does anybody know?
As a data librarian with Bywater Solutions, I often do this for patrons because they cannot do them themselves. So they send me a list of barcodes and I do it in the back end. And you were the first person I've seen that can do it through the staff clients.
Well, thank you. I was feeling like the imposter syndrome coming here. Like, what am I doing? These people don't know how to.
This is a really good idea.
This is very important. Can you do that in the offline setting?
I don't know. That's a good.
Yes,
Can be.
I mean, I haven't used it for that, but in theory, right?
This is George from Northeast Kansas Library System. You can only check in things in the batch check-in module that are checked out. So this would work with the batch check-in with the batch with the offline circulation module. What I've tried to do in the past is I wanted to use the offline circulation module with check-ins in as part of the inventory process. You can't do that because if it's not checked out, the offline circulation module will not process. It'll just say, let's check. I don't need to do it. But that's another option you have. You have to format the data as a KOC file. But you can do it, and you have to download the offline circulation module. So what you did is actually, I think, a great way to do it. The other way I've processed this in the past for libraries I've worked with is I've checked all the things that are checked out to a library card, and I use the check in all the things that patrons have found. Click that box and then click the button and check them all at once.
Wait. Stop. What did you do? You checked them. They're already second.
In circulation, when you
Okay.
when you pull up a patron, there's a check box and the list of things they can check down, and then click the
Right.
button to check in all the things that are selected on that account, check them all.
But how do you check them out?
Yeah, but they're-
We have the batch checkout
Oh,
alternative in our system, so you can check it out and then you can generate a list of all the things that are checked out that you want to return, check them out to a different account, which the batch checkout will do. And then you just go to that account and you say, check all the things on this account, and that's another way to do it.
All right, I didn't think you could check them out if they're already checked out.
Yeah, you can.
Oh.
I did that too, but how long does that take?
Takes forever.
Yeah.
Your method is really good. I like it a lot, and that's probably what I'll do next time. Unless there is a bug number in Bugzilla. It's bug 19814, and it's a request for a batch checking function.
Yeah.
And it's got 34 users on it. It's been a bug in koha since 2017, so it's been out there for a while. And it has a lot of comments on it, but there doesn't seem to be any attack on funding or there hasn't been any real action on this.
And guess what? I never made a comment on it or voted for it or anything. So shame on me.
You'll have to get on
That bug right now.
Maybe I could,
They really changed the discussion.
I could at least comment that they could do the hack, but I felt so insecure about it that I didn't, because I'm like, they probably already know this. So I'll do that.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. And it's just a comment, and we don't have this problem in our university library. You may be wondering what's happening there. It's a different context altogether. We collect a cautionary deposit from the students. So when they graduate, before they graduate, they have to clear the library. The librarian has to sign off that the student doesn't owe anything to the university. Secondly, staff side, when the staff resigns, before the last paycheck is released, again the librarian needs to clear them all. And you may have a lot of grants and funds we don't have, so we have to manage it that way. Thank you.
Oh, I love that. I worked at Rhode Island Hospital and the residents used to have to come to the library and have us check things off. And most of them it would break my heart because they'd come in going, I didn't know we had a library. Whatever. So I don't know if they still do that, but I mean, that's very thorough. I can't imagine the paycheck thing.
It's not an online process. I mean, both students and staff, they don't need to go anywhere. Everything is online.
Right,
So,
I know. I could go to faculty offices and just get them. Yeah. It's not that important.
Couple of online comments, Daphne says, thanks, Madge, great presentation, really useful, and Heather says, I like the outline of steps too. I think they apply to just about everything I do.
Oh, thank you. I'm validated. Really nice.
Madge, I have something to say.
Well,
Ingenious, I would have never thought of using the inventory tool, so like, awesome, amazing. There is a bug. Add option to mark items returned in batch modification coming in 2305. So batch item modification tool will allow you to check things in when you get to 2305.
that's great.
Yes.
Because we also ran into this when we did our curation. Where we thought we were deleting things and the person batch deleting didn't notice that things fell to the bottom that said, no, you're still checked out.
Oh, okay.
So they ended up not getting deleted, so.
Madge, I have a quick question. Your stuff was checked out but not lost, right? It hadn't gone like automatically long overdue.
No, I forget the steps, like it's certainly, no, some of them were lost. Yes.
Okay, and inventory checked them in fine, even though they were lost.
Yes,
Oh, cool.
yeah, it did. Yeah.
Did it give refunds to people?
Refunds?
Yeah, well, do you give refunds if someone has a lost thing and it gets returned, and did this process generate those refunds?
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, I don't know. I don't know if any, like, nobody ever really pays for these. Well, nobody, nobody raised it as a flag or anything, so, I wonder if the system like sent them emails, so their email address is no longer active.
Madge.
Yeah.
Kim from.
I can, great,
Kim from Middlesex. So it would have just taken it off their account. right?
okay, good,
Which I think when we went into the process, that was the idea. These people haven't been sued for 20 years. So it's okay to take it off the account. So that would be like a policy decision that you make
yeah.
at the school. And as far as the faculty and staff, and I don't know if you can do this at your school. Our school now has this whole exit form that has to be filled out. And we got the library on that form, so I have to sign off when faculty and staff leave.
Oh, wow.
And then you throw off that.
Yeah, right, that's, or like they might be adjunct or only teach online classes,
I just wanted to add, there is, in addition to the bug that Kelly mentioned, there is a plugin that is available now. I think the plugin never the bug, so you did it's a real feature. But it's called the end checkouts plugin, and that will just, if you put a list of barcodes in there, you can mark them as returned. It will not refund their fees. It just, it's ends the checkout. It doesn't do a full like check-in, restore and everything, it just ends the checkout.
Gotcha. I know, it's a little easier at a small community college than probably a public library where things are on hold all the time, so.
Hi, I'm Emily from Montgomery County Public Libraries. We also went through this whole process recently and we did it a totally different way than you guys did, so I would love seeing your method. We actually used that plugin to start and then we set up like some automatic stuff. But I just wanted to speak to the earlier question about like whether different things refund the fines or not. There's a system preference for that. I don't remember what it's called, but if you go into the administration module and like just search lost in the system preferences, it'll pop up. And that like controls whether the fee will be automatically refunded in different situations or not. So that would depend on how the library sets it and whether you want to go through the inventory module or use the plugin Nick was talking about.
Great, good to know. Think about that next time. I'll add that to my list. But nothing bad happened, so I'm thinking it was okay. All set. Well, thank you very much.